A beloved community stray and her newborn puppies were targeted in a crime so horrifying, I cannot even bring myself to describe the torture the poor dog suffered without feeling sick in the stomach. And what happened next forced one of the world's most powerful censorship machines into total panic. This heinous act sparked a national uprising that the Chinese government tried desperately to erase. In the village of Pingpu, Jiang City in Guangdong, a gentle stray dog known affectionately as Wang Wang was a familiar, welcomed presence. Fed and cared for by local villagers, she had recently given birth to a litter of 3 tiny puppies. She was just protecting her litter, but that devotion was met with pure malice. Wang Wang, fiercely protective of her babies, but that maternal loyalty became her undoing when a group of 4 young perpetrators subjected the mother and her puppies to an unspeakable, prolonged ordeal, recording and circulating a graphic video of the act that sickened everyone who saw it. As public anger grew, villagers noted that these boys weren't strangers to cruelty, having a disturbing history of targeting defenseless stray dogs and cats in the area. How do you demand justice when the law says the monsters who did this are completely untouchable? Investigators soon identified the perpetrators, 4 12-year-old boys. Under Chinese law, children under 14 are exempt from criminal liability for non-felony offenses. And because China lacks a national animal cruelty law, no criminal charges could be filed. Authorities announced the minors had been sent away for specialized corrective education. But that official narrative completely shattered when internet sleuths tracked the teenagers and their parents' social media accounts, revealing they weren't facing remorse or isolation, but were instead flauntfully enjoying their leisure time as if nothing had happened. This infuriated the public. What started as collective grief exploded into a full-scale digital rebellion, and that's when the censorship machine panicked. The public flooded social media with outrage, turning a spark of anger into an uncontainable firestorm. In response, state censors began scrubbing entire digital footprints in a frantic bid to force silence. Microblog posts demanding legal reform were erased in real time. Not even millions of followers could protect the biggest names in entertainment. When high-profile stars like Chinese actor Du Jiang and Taiwanese actress Zhou Chen posted statements calling for animal welfare laws, their posts were swiftly silenced and suppressed. But the public refused to back down. Citizens crowdfunded memorial displays on massive LED mall screens in cities all across China, while artists painted street murals in honor of Wang Wang and her puppies. The authorities' response was immediate. LED screens were pulled dark, murals were covered up, and every physical and digital trace of Wang Wang was ordered to vanish. When you attempt to lock down your domestic internet, you don't erase the story, you export your own humiliation to the world stage. Erasing Wang Wang's memory inside China didn't force silence, it triggered an uncontrollable global wave of the Streisand effect. As Chinese censors scrubbed the last outdoor displays in Beijing, giant LED screens thousands of miles away were about to light up in broad daylight. Uncensored and unified, diaspora groups, animal rights advocates, and international activists mobilized across borders. They crowdfunded massive digital memorials on high-impact billboards in major global metropolises, from New York's Times Square and Milan to Kuala Lumpur, Tokyo, and Toronto. But it didn't stop on digital screens. The outcry moved directly into the streets. In Tokyo, crowds gathered for public rallies, while in South Korea, demonstrators marched outside diplomatic hubs demanding China enact modern, enforceable animal protection laws. When global news outlets like the BBC picked up the story, the narrative transformed completely. A localized tragedy in a Guangdong village had officially morphed into an international movement against censorship, legal impunity, and state suppression. The Chinese state apparatus managed to lock down its domestic internet, but it completely failed to stop the narrative from exploding on the world stage. The Wang Wang case exposed a glaring, dangerous legal void. Mainland China still lacks a comprehensive nationwide animal protection law. When national symbols like pandas receive strict legal immunity, why are domestic animals left completely defenseless? For any modern nation to progress, basic humanitarian protections cannot be ignored. By treating a public cry for empathy as a political security threat, authorities turned a localized tragedy into an embarrassing global masterclass on the limits of censorship. You can erase a post in milliseconds, but you can't delete a global memory. What do you think? Can a digital state ever truly bury a story when the whole world is watching? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. What do you think about these stories? Comment below. Follow Asia Viral News for more updates.